Business Nigeria, I'm Yemisi Lanredo. The African heads of state are meeting in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia this week. The meeting is actually ongoing to discuss the challenges facing the continent. On the agenda includes the raging drought in some parts of the continent due to climate change, as well as possible threat to food security as a result of the drought. Now, the Nigerian Stock Exchange says it is planning to buy a price monitoring system from Nasdaq to protect against market manipulation. Nigeria's financial authorities in 2008 made substantial reforms to the stock market after the global economic recession. NSA head of regulation Tinu Adeyawe says this development affirms the continuous commitment of the exchange to protecting investors by creating a fair and orderly market. The stock exchange had switched to a quote-driven from a price-driven market using the Nasdaq X-Trade trading platform and extended the trading day so that it overlapped with Wall Street's opening. That's in a bid to increase participation of the U.S. and other foreign investors. Now, to improve supply and support government efforts to reduce gas flaring, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) and Chevron Nigeria Limited joint venture have announced the completion and loadout of the topside model of the Sonam N unassociated gas wellhead platform project. The initiative will enable the delivery of up to 420 million cubic feet of gas per day from Sonam to the Ex-Crevasse gas plant. The Director of Business Services, Emmanuel Imafidon, says the partnership for the project model was delivered as part of the domestic supply obligation. Now, Nigeria and Kenya will launch 5-year business visas for business people operating in both countries to allow ease of doing business. Official figures indicate that trade between the two countries stood at $190 million as of 2013. While signing various bilateral trade agreements in Nairobi, Presidents Uhuru Kenyatta and Muhammad Buhari committed to removing barriers to trade between the two countries. Now, the renewed economic blueprint of President Muhammadu Buhari is a focal point of discussion this afternoon, and I'm joined on this discussion by a financial consultant, Kayode Oyedeji, to look more at this renewed economic blueprint and see what it can bring for Nigeria, especially at this time we're talking about diversification. I must thank you for coming on the program, financial consultant Kayode Oyedeji. Now, President Buhari. Exactly. One of the first things he said at that meeting that he went to in Nairobi is that he is not going to devalue the naira. We know that the naira is at the moment is not in a very good position at the moment against the dollar. Now, do you think President Muhammadu Buhari is following the right step?
Well, the president has made it known, and as it is now, we haven't seen much of the blueprint that will guide these economic programs and that would give direction. But all the same, he has presented the budget, and the budget would run its course if approved by the National Assembly.
So to say, you are not so down with what is on ground at the moment?
He has talked about the currency, what he intends to do with the currency. It will not be devalued as it is. There are two sides to it, really.
Okay, what are the sides?
We run a closed currency. By implication, it means you can't take the naira out of Nigeria to spend in the UK or to even change. So if you're running a closed currency, the value of that currency has to be determined outside the market forces, outside the forces of demand and supply. That means the regulatory authority, in this case the central bank, must come in and say, let's keep the value of the naira within this range. And to do it, it means if the naira is running into itches, the central bank must step in, must intervene, ease liquidity challenge, supply challenge, and make sure the naira is trading at the determined range. So this is going to be a little bit expensive. But I think the president has his own intention. He does not want anything that will be seen as devastating to the economy. So it is jettisoning that process, and he say, please, whatever it's jettisoning the valuation, whatever it will take CBN, keep the naira at this range. What CBN has done is to make sure that people who are not on its priority list are crowded out of the foreign exchange market. That means where you get your dollar, it's not government business.
In your words, whatever we're going to do is going to be expensive. Now, Nigeria is keen on diversification, is keen on producing a conducive economic environment, looking at boosting our trade, tourism, security, agriculture, and energy. Now, how does it go about this with the level we're in now?
Yes, everything goes back to what the philosophy of this government will be, what the economic programs of the, we need a blueprint, we need an action plan. We've been talking about diversifying Nigerian economy well over 3 decades, but we've not seen the desired move.
The desired
Now,
action.
Action. What do we want to do exactly? We want no oil output to grow. That means we want to open up agriculture, we want to open up mining. The reality is, as it is today, we don't have the framework to achieve these targets. In the government before this, we saw effort on agriculture, but when you go to the market, to the high street, you can't feel the impact. You have tomato sell in a particular period of the year, 2,500 naira per basket. Then another 6 months, the same item is trading for 27,000 naira. That means we've not had the real impact. Now, what this government, I think, should do is to come up with a framework. The Minister for Solid Minerals has told us that states will be allowed to undertake mining activities under which framework? These are the challenge, the issues. Because now, if you say, go to your state and mine, the Niger Delta people too will say, well, we have oil. That's our natural resources. We want to mine it on our own.
All right.
So we need a framework.
We need a framework, truly, and I stand to be corrected in this position. Now, one of the things that has driven Nigerians' economy to this position we are in now is the rate at which we have foreign investors, the drive of foreign investors in our economy. For example, the Nigerian Stock Exchange has said it is planning to buy a price monitoring system from NASDAQ. All right, and we know that whenever there is any recession, investors pull out their funds immediately, and we see the way our economy is. Now, how do we encourage local investors?
The biggest lesson from the crisis we've had in the last 1 year or thereabout is that we have to take our own fate in our hands. The foreign investors will come, but there's what we call direct portfolio investment. When foreign investors come with direct portfolio investment, with the moment a panic button is pressed, they withdraw from your economy. They sell off their portfolio and go. What government must do is for us to develop a homegrown economy.
So perhaps that's what President Muhammadu Buhari is doing, not devaluing the naira.
Well, it's also important. No country, no economy can exist in isolation anymore. No economy is an island. What we are saying is, for the president to say, I won't devalue the naira, we probably want to hear more of that from the CBN or from the president himself. We want to have a think tank that can engage the nation and come up with a position. And that think tank should also be able to, for instance, I'll give you an instance. What the CBN has done in the last 6 months comes down to try and error. And that's unfortunate. The CBN itself cannot beat its chest and say the policies I've put in place will endure for the next 3-4 years. How do you now mitigate against foreign exchange risk when you don't have clear-cut policies on how you manage you are taking it each day as it comes? Modern economics is more futuristic than that. So these are the issues. Now we are talking about the stock market. It's probably one of the worst hits. And perhaps some people have described it as a casino. That's wrong. That's the main barometer to measure the performance of your economy. So government must show more interest. Government should come up with policy, liaise with the Securities and Exchange Commission, liaise with the Nigerian Stock Exchange, with the investing public to see how they can bring enduring stability to that in spite of the itches within the economy.
Okay, looking so far at fiscal policies and monetary policies, I know many people have argued that there has been some sort of disconnect between the two. So far, looking at how President Muhammadu Buhari is working, do you think there is a synergy or there will be a synergy?
Ultimately, there should be a synergy. The president has started by saying, let's change our ways of doing things. Let's bring integrity into government business. Let's bring integrity into our national life. But that's not enough. At the fiscal side, we expect far-reaching reforms in the economy. A reform that will touch on what have we been doing, how do we proceed from here, from this dangerous position we have found ourselves. And that should touch on how government runs its business. How much should the presidency spend in a year? What should the National Assembly spend? What are the perks of office of everybody on government's payroll? In a situation whereby monetization has been jettisoned, we have to go back to them. In fact, practically where the economy is where it was in 1999. So we need to go back to the reforms which we brought on board in 1999, monetization. How do we enhance private sector participation in the economy? We've got quite a lot of things to do, but this government must has good intention, which we all know it does. But beyond that good intention, we must see a practicable, pragmatic framework that will guide local and foreign investors and other economic agents. The states need to be brought on board. The local government must seem to be working. The civil service is practically dead. How do you bring them back on board? You need to fight corruption. But
I was going to go that corruption. Is it going to be good? Fighting corruption is one of the things that President Muhammadu Buhari is doing for a change. Now, do you think it's really good for business? And do you think it's going to improve investors' confidence?
Oh, sure, because we need the rule of law to attract business from abroad. We also need the rule of law for individuals to be able to bring out the best in them. What we've had over the years, I say it again, is rent-taking. And fighting corruption is not a child's play. Initially, we had about the body language. We've realized that it won't take us too far. We need to streamline the regulatory environment to make sure that, for instance, I'll take you back to what CBN is doing. CBN has almost succeeded in crowding out people who are not on its priority list. By doing that, it has pressed the panic button that Nigeria does not have adequate foreign exchange to fund certain activities. But ideally, we should have used trade prohibitions to stop some of these things. How will these items, how have they been getting into our economy? Well, you see a packet of matches, for instance, made in Indonesia. Then when you look at it closely, you see the signage of SON, Standard Organization of Nigeria. So the regulatory environment should be streamlined. I'll give you another instance now. It's in the interest of Nigeria that people will now begin to look at these items locally. When you now go to a small manufacturing company that has been struggling over the years, you go to them, you do your business. But the problem now is there's skills gap, there's problem of infrastructure, there's problem of funding. So if you are not very careful, we end up having economy that will be at the mercy of people who run counterfeit products and services.
Okay, the federal government and its institutions must streamline its policies. All right, I must thank you, financial consultant Kayode Oyedeji, for coming on Business Nigeria.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you very much.
All right, the Nigerian Economic Summit Group is also speaking and asking the federal government to speed up the process of diversification, but that will come up after the break. You're watching Business Nigeria. Nigerian Economic Summit Group NESG is also calling on the government to speed up the process of diversification at an interactive session organized for agro-allied companies and traders by the Job Creation Unit of the Office of the Vice President. The group says in the face of dwindling oil price and weak currency, the onus lies on the government to create a business-friendly environment for private sector to thrive.
unemployment is the biggest issue today, especially with the dwindling oil price. If you look at it, we have almost 29.3% unemployment, but it's even worse among the youth because youth unemployment is about 40%. Now, there is a need to get the youth off the streets and into productive venture. One, they're useful to themselves, and two, we broaden the tax base so that more people will come into the tax pool, because obviously there is no national cake coming from the oil boom. It's all gone now.
Beyond creating new jobs, we should ensure that our policies does not make us lose jobs. First, the one we have, they're not adequate. And if we start losing them, there are problems. So the first thing should be, how do we ensure that we stop jobs from closing down whilst we create additional job for other people?
Now, the National Economic Council has insisted that there is no going back on its decision that the NNPC and other revenue-generating agencies must present budgets for approval before spending in line with TSA, that's the Treasury Single Account.
Is the 65th National Economic Council meeting, and Vice President Yemi Oshibajo chairs the meeting. Major areas of concentration of this meeting were an update on the state of the economy, the 2016 budget, as well as a report on excess crude proceeds and bailout funds for states. The objective of the budget was identified as delivering inclusive growth to Nigerians and creating a significant number of jobs that would reduce unemployment and underemployment.
One thing we're determined not to do is to cut the capital, any of those capital projects, because we need them to stimulate the economy. So we're going to work with the National Assembly and look at how we can, without increasing our loans, how we can get savings, significant savings.
On the state of the economy, states were once again encouraged to explore innovative financing options in order to increase their internally generated revenue to complement what was shared from the Federation account. This was due to the fact that decline in oil prices may persist.
The management of excess crude account, you recall some few months back that NEC took a decision that there was a need for revenue generating agencies to be audited and examined, and that a forensic audit should be carried out. The auditing of such revenue agencies should be carried out by the firm KPMG that will look at 18 core revenue agencies, and also by a local firm, SIAO, that will also look at 83 other non-core revenue agencies.
Council disclosed that the federal government will not increase VAT rates, but will improve upon VAT collection, which is currently about 20%.
All we are saying, we're not raising taxes at all. We're not raising the tax rates. Either corporate tax is not being raised, VAT is not being raised. We do not want to impose additional burdens on Nigerians. However, those who are making money and who have not been paying, they should pay their taxes.
It was also disclosed that 23 states have benefited the 10 billion naira each from an ECA-backed soft loan. Maria Olasheinde, TVC News, Abuja.
Well, many like minds have agreed that small businesses drive the economy. And to this end, small and medium entrepreneurs in the country are calling on the government to create an enabling environment that can guarantee a speedy growth of the sector. They want the authorities to pay attention to the sector in the light of current economic predicament facing the country.
There is no gainsaying that Nigeria's national prosperity is currently under threat. This is more so when the country is highly import dependent with a very negligible involvement in local productions. The falling global price of crude has further aggravated the economic situation in the country. The fallout in all of this is that government and the people are grappling to find a way out of the present circumstance. Small and medium enterprises operators at a meeting in Lagos pushed for a sincere commitment to the sector's development.
The easiest way to generate foreign exchange is to diversify into agriculture. And you know, most of the SMEs are really into this kind of business. We need to encourage the SMEs, giving them incentive and asking them to at least bring the new technology. The Southeast Asia, they have a technology. They can produce cheap, you know. Even though we have cheap labor here, but they have machines that can produce.
They want government to propel the needed change by formulating workable policies and making available ready markets for their businesses.
No any manufacturer can produce battery in Nigeria, 2 pieces of battery, and sell it at the rate of 20 naira in this country. Which means if they are selling at 20 naira, it was produced there, they paid electricity, water, and other things, and they paid all the taxes, brought it into Nigeria, paid all the taxes, and also look at the chain, and still somebody is able to make profit. The malam in front of your house sells it to you at 20 naira. Then you know that is the operating environment.
We know what is operating in India, for instance, even in the US, producing and getting a policy in place for government to patronize them. Because even in the US, there is a certain percentage which any parastatal must buy from these local producers. Here, we import everything, including toothpick.
Small and medium enterprises in Nigeria have consistently underperformed, even as the sector constitutes more than 90% of the country's businesses. Ifunanya Eze, TVC News.
Well, on a cherry note, this Friday, and news coming from the global oil markets indicate that prices are staying in high levels, as suggested, and this is as a result of Russia's suggestions of possible output talks with OPEC. Reports say prices improved by more than 2% on speculative lead. At the London market, the Brent trades for $34 per barrel in early bargains. For the OPEC basket brand, price jumps to $26 a barrel. Well, we do hope we can keep that positive note till the Monday. Well, that's Business Nigeria. I'm Yemisi Landredo. Many thanks for watching.